So the question was just posed over the course of the protests. They've lasted, in your opinion, longer than most protests that you can recall in Rockford. And with the increase of potential overtime and things of that nature, has my views on protests changed?
I guess the specific protest, not just protests in general. But
Okay.
yes, I'd say that's largely the question. Yes.
Okay. No, I mean, that's everyone's right to protest and have their voices heard. So no, absolutely not. My view on individuals raising their voices and bringing concerns to light has not changed. Everyone's entitled to that, and we as a city government, that's part of our job, is to protect their right. I will be upfront and tell you the last I reviewed those numbers, I want to say was last Thursday or last Friday, and if my memory serves me correct, we were at $1.64 million of combined overtime for the police, and we had budgeted $2.7 million for the year, and I believe we were at 61% of our budget and right in line with that. So it has not dramatically increased our budget. It actually hasn't increased our budget from the numbers we budgeted at the beginning of the year. But no, everyone has the right to protest, and there are really important conversations taking place, and I've been fortunate to have been part of many of those conversations. And obviously it's a really challenging time across the country and right here in Rockford, but it's also an unbelievable opportunity. I think you can look at many of the threads that bind us together, and one of those is safety, and safety just happens to mean different things to different people. And I think if we can focus on those threads that bind us together, we can move forward and move forward as a stronger, more inclusive, more just community. And I think you have folks who, I think as a community, we need to understand that reform and safety are not mutually exclusive. I think you can look over the work that the city of Rockford has done in our police department and be incredibly proud of it, as I am. I think you can look at how, and I'll just speak for those instances that I've had the opportunity and honor to play a small role in, but you can look at how we analyzed our calls for service and saw that, at the time, 35% of our calls for service were domestic violence related. And of those juveniles we arrested for violent offenses in the last 3 years, 60 to 75% of them grew up in households that domestic violence was taking place, and they had been impacted by trauma. And you can see that our police reviewed that. They worked with the Mayor's Office of Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking Prevention, headed by Jennifer Cacciapaglia, and realigned and reimagined what policing would be in domestic violence cases. So now we've moved forward with the Family Peace Center that just opened 3.5 weeks ago. We have hired staff to work with those youth impacted by trauma, which is headed up by Annie Hobson, and we're always open for new ways. We just need to continue to be open for new ways to reimagine and realign our resources to best serve all Rockfordians and keep all Rockfordians safe.
Mayor, do you have any comment about the incident in Kenosha which triggered the violent protests in the last couple of days?
So I think probably watched that a number of times, and probably one too many times, like most Americans have seen. So the question was, Ken asked what my thoughts were about the incident in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I think anyone who watches that has to have their heart tugged at some point. I think it's horrific what I saw, and knowing Ken, I've seen that clip that everyone's seen, so I just want that out there. But it's horrific. I think 7 shots to someone's back. I don't know of a better word than to describe it as horrific. I think I would just say that incident in itself is horrific. We have had a number of listening sessions throughout our community. I would just add, I mean, so I have two young kids, Olympia and Malachi. To my knowledge, and I'm not an expert on this case, but to my knowledge, there was 3 children in that car. I mean, my heart goes out to them and to the entire family. That one hit me hard and was, I think, and I hope, difficult for everyone to watch because that's not how things should take place, in my opinion. Understand I'm not an expert, but I don't know if you need to be to watch that. I would say we've had really impactful listening sessions here. We as a community have a lot of work to do. And I will say you all have done a tremendous job covering different events and work that is being done, both positive, just events, I'll say. I would just give a word of caution to Rockfordians overall. Watch your language that you use. Words matter. One of the worst things to read is a comment section of any of your articles. And that's nothing that you did. Obviously, I'm talking to media. It's nothing that you did, and I know that. But there is so much hate in those comments that is not productive, that is not going to bring us together. I mean, you talk about things that we need right now in our community, is we need to start treating our neighbors how we want to be treated. It's very simple things. It's just like the COVID mitigation efforts that we could all do. It's simple, basic human things that as schools open, they're going to teach 3- and 4-year-olds and 5- and 6-year-olds what to do, to treat other people how you want to be treated. And that's things that we can do right now to start building a stronger, more productive dialogue. And understand, Rockford's a small town. You're using your own name out there with this hateful speech on both sides. We right now need to come together and, again, focus on those things that bind us together, because there is far more of that garment that binds us together than tears us apart. And so I know you didn't ask me that, but after watching some of the comments recently, it's hard not to comment on it.